Greetings, dear viewers, and welcome back to Alatra TV Middle East. And today, again, we have our show on the topic Creative Society, and we always invite very interesting people. And today, as usually, we have a very special guest. And before we introduce him, I would like to say that it's a very international broadcast today. I'm Alina, I'm in the United Arab Emirates now. My co-host today is Rita. Rita is in Switzerland, and our guest, our secret guest, is in Africa, but you will know about it later. So I pass the floor to Rita.
Hello, dear friends. I'm so happy to introduce our guest today. So this is Wilson Uchi Wilson. He's from Nigeria. It's very interesting guest. I was very inspired by the story of Wilson. Wilson is a graduate of, he has a degree in IT and he has a work experience, but currently, he's the founder of the Stoics Foundation with the objective and advocacy for a world filled with smiles on the face of people. This is really nice, Wilson.
Thank you.
And of course, the reduction of the poverty. Wilson, what motivates you and what inspires you to do what you're doing? Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit of the story of your foundation?
Thank you, Rita and Alina. I'm really privileged to be on this platform. My foundation, Stoics Foundation, it's actually a non-profit organization that we work to bring hope and smiles and a standard way of life, coupled with making education fun, which is our main target in Africa, Nigeria, especially to the Nigerian child. We look forward to partnering with organizations and individuals inclined with dreams like ours and meeting the needs of vulnerable people, saving lives, and also look at ways to provide relief materials and looking at ways to sustain increased income for the poorest, transforming attitudes about women roles and rights and increasing active citizenship, also by engaging and encouraging voluntary services and putting smiles on the faces of people. You know, what our vision for the foundation, it's a world, an Africa, and Nigeria filled with smiles on the faces of people, one just without poverty, where people, especially the African child and the youth, are valued and treated equally, enjoy their rights as full citizens, and also can influence decisions affecting their lives. The inspiration to open my foundation, like you all know, I told you earlier that I'm a graduate, still unemployed, looking for job, but like the popular saying, and why wait for what the government could offer to you? Why don't you look for what you could offer to the government? Because the government itself has nothing to offer to you other than just leadership and ways to look at how to make you a good followership also. So what inspired me to establish this foundation was actually born out of my experience coming up as a child, from an average African home, also influenced with my travels around Nigeria. I've not really gone wild, but around my community where I am, as a tech enthusiast and graduate, I was moved by the contrast, between privilege and poverty around the world, and the importance of education in creating opportunities, also for creating opportunities, for advancement and economic independence for some, for the African child. In Africa, especially when you come to Nigeria, we have what we call there's more of child labor in Nigeria, where you see underaged children, they are out there hawking, selling stuff, looking at how to provide, fend for themselves, provide for themselves and also their family. So, and the government really, they don't do much or little about this issue, because when you expose a child outside, without security, without the guidance of the parents at an underaged, year, I'm talking of as early as 7, 8 to 10, these kids are out there selling stuffs, trying to see how they could provide for their educational facilities, basics like books, basics like youth school uniforms, their stationaries for them to be able to use to go to schools, you know. So exposing them to different kinds of dangers and rape for the girl child, uh, drug trafficking, drug abuse for the boy child, you know, thuggery and its like, So why sit wait for the government to try to see how they could come in, which the help will not even get to come at the right time when it's supposed to be. So why don't we do something about this? In as much as we got little, why don't we do something about this? So I had this idea why coming together, bringing people together, connecting people from all walks of lives, and as much as we all don't have much, so we just advocate for these kids and try to see how we could provide for them, reach out to people, that has this, you know, out of your very plenty you got, bring up little so we could be able to touch the lives of these children. So, that's basically what we do in our foundation, actually, and what really inspired me to really have this. An education in Nigeria, coupled with this pandemic, naturally it's quite poor because the rate at which the girl child is being engaged, is being enrolled in education in Nigeria, it's very, very poor. It's very, very poor. The boy child, most we have in some regions, the northern regions especially, where they don't encourage education, they rather, go for probably Islamic educations and the likes. So, and they end up, using these people, using these kids for different kinds of political thuggery and their aims politically, which at the end of the day, we have more problems compiling in Nigeria, compiling in the continent. You know, talk about banditry, talk about terrorism. These kids, they tend to join these groups, at a very initial age because of the negligence on the side of the government and also on our side because each and every one of us, we got a part to play when it comes to nation building. We all got a part to play. Instead of leaving these things to the government, we just have to come together, synergize, try to see how we could provide and make things work really in Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a heartbreaking. Then you hear stories like this because I'm a mom myself and I also have
Wow.
children of this age. And knowing what is really happening in this world today, like you opened for us the true situation in Nigeria, and within the Project Creative Society, we meet people from all over the world, and it's a disaster situation, a globally disaster situation, children labor, as well as no access to education, manipulation and control. Everything what you described is really an ugly face of our society. And congratulations on what you do. And it's amazing that there are people who take on responsibility to change this world. And we know that there are today a lot of people in the world, as you are, who are trying to do their best to change this world. And this is why we are bringing and inviting all people of goodwill to the platform of Creative Society and Alatra TV, because it's a platform that people can meet, people can communicate together. And as you mentioned, that solidarity of people is absolutely required in order we could solve these problems. And also, as you mentioned, that the time then we put responsibility on governments is over. We have to get responsible ourselves. So what I would like to ask you, how do you envision a creative society? Let's say that living in the consumerism format of the society, we are facing so many issues in our life. Let's talk about the format of the society. Their human being is happy. There, you and your beloved ones would feel secure. Can you describe such a society, please? What should be absolutely present in such a society?
Like you said, it's the right of people to be heard, and it's to life and also security, to have an identity, to also sustainable livelihood. Well, how I envision a creative society, I envision a creative society where everyone could have access to basic social services. Talk about education, talk about medical facilities. You know, with the latest pandemic occurrences we're having right now in the world, the whole world is facing it. You know, it really exposed Africa, Nigeria, that our medical facilities really is in a state of dilemma. We don't really have enough facilities medically to cater for even our top government officials, because you get to see them flying out there for basic minor issues, without being able to get cure here in Nigeria. So talk about what if the average Nigerian right now is being exposed to this kind of sickness, this kind of infection, diseases, and it's like that means there is no hope, there is no future for such an individual. So I envision a society where things will be made affordable, provided for, the average individual who is out there trying to see how to fend for himself and his family, provide, the little in any way they can be able to provide. I envision a society, a creative society where poverty will be reduced. They said you can't eradicate poverty totally, but we can reduce poverty down to zero level. I envision a society where people uh, will have their human rights being, you know, respected, because we have more of human rights violations down here too. I envision a society where the voice of the average, the voice of a nobody, could be heard, and where you don't have to know somebody, to be able to get something or to be able to become someone in life, you know, because when you come down here to Africa, we got a lot of problems in terms of nepotism, in terms of tribalism, ethnocentric leadership, where you have to be from this particular tribe, you have to be from this particular place before you be able to get a job. You have to know somebody at the top before you be able to do whatever thing you want to do. So I envision a society where all these things will be cut down to zero level. Humanity will be respected, human first, because before you became what you before you were before you became from certain before you came from certain place, you were first of all born a human being. You had these skins on before you said you're from Nigeria, before you say you're from South Africa, before you say you're from Dubai or wherever you are, you know. So human being first, place humanity first, irrespective of whatever. That's the society where that is the society I envisioned.
It's such a beautiful vision. Thank you so much. And you touched all important topics, and you literally named all the 8 foundations of the creative society within your description. So, um, I absolutely believe that we can overcome the poverty, we can overcome all the issues of the current society by implementation of the 8 foundations of the creative society. But we are going to talk about it later because I know that Rita also wanted to ask you a couple of questions, so I pass her floor.
Wilson, that was really nice when you mentioned about the creative society, how you envision it. I think without knowing that this project existed, so you mentioned it in your foundation that you want to put the smile on every person, on every face in the Nigeria. And I think that's exactly the creative society that you want to build around yourself. Another thing that I read this interesting fact about Nigeria, so that Nigeria has the third largest youth population in the world after India and China. And there's almost 50% of the population of Nigeria, it's under the 18 years old. I was really amazed. This is the future, not only the Nigeria, it's probably the future of the whole world, right? So if we build the creative society, so it's going to be, we need as much people as we can. And I think your foundation is very timely, and it's really, really important. The work that you do is really, really important. I hope that you will see in our uh, among the people, that you can meet a lot of people from different parts of the world, that you are not alone. Everybody's doing something. Everybody's trying to take the responsibility back in their own hands and do something little by little. So probably it is really nice for you to know that you are part of the great family of the human being, of the people of the goodwill who are building the better society for our kids and for future generations. Um, I think that you had read all the 8 foundations of the creative societies, and because you're mostly interested and your foundation is involved mostly in education, so probably we can talk a little bit in detail the sixth foundation of the creative society, which is the education, that covers the education. Maybe we can have the list of the foundation on the screen. So the number one is the human life, which you mentioned as well. So the human life is very, very important, as well as the human freedom that you also mentioned earlier. Human safety, transparency and openness of information for all, creative ideology, development of personality, justice and equality, and self-governing society. Maybe we can talk a bit in details of the foundation number 6, which is the tells that every person in the creative society has the right to comprehensive development and personal fulfillment. Education should be free and equally accessible to all, creating conditions and expanding opportunities for human to implement his or her creative abilities and talents. How do you see this foundation in terms of what you're doing at the moment with your foundation?
Okay, the foundation, that is the sixth foundation in line of what we're doing with our foundation. Well, you know, actually, education, it's in as much as it's free, it can be said to be free in Nigeria because we still got schools that provided by the government. You know, they still tax these poor people, these vulnerable people, because they make less than, some of them they make less than $100 per month per day. You know, so they tax these people with quite huge amounts to pay for school fees, to pay for uniforms and books. You know, so it's tend to make these people source for extra means of income, which they are not able to provide for. So they have everybody in the house, everyone both the kids, both the wife, the father, everyone has to just go out there to source for ways to get extra income into the family. So what my foundation is doing actually, in a nutshell, we are trying. We have a project or a vision for 2021 where we want to cover up to 100 schools in our community, though there are more than that, but we want to cover up to 100 local government schools provided, by the local governments for these vulnerable kids. We want to look at ways to provide pay off their school fees because of this pandemic. Most of them, they are not able to go to schools anymore. They have high rates of children out of schools after the pandemic. Once immediately the government called back the resumptions of schools, most of them, they are not able to resume because of income, school fees not being provided, and books. If you don't have books, you won't be able to continue with a session. So we want to look at ways to provide books for these kids, and also see how we could make provisions for their stationery like sandals, school uniforms, and so that's just what we want to do for 2021 and our vision for this year, just to tackle child trafficking, to tackle child labor. Sometime in 2008, there was a state in Nigeria, Lagos State actually, they banned, you know, child labor in Nigeria, in their states, in the states. But when you get to look at, if you go back to that state, you get to see during school hours, you don't see children, you don't see kids out there selling during school hours, because once they catch you, once they get hold of any kid out there selling stuffs, they get to arrest them, they get to, get their parents and also send them to jail or make them pay fine. So most of these kids, instead of them to be in school during their school hours, they stay back at home because they can't go out there. The government is watching. If they should get hold of any of them, they get to prosecute that person. So they tend to just, you know, later in the day, in the evening hours, once everyone is back from school, they go out there back to what they do normally, selling stuffs, hawking different goods and the likes just to provide. So we want to see how we could curtail this. We want to see how we could take off the children off the streets, and also see how we could use education actually to tackle the issue of terrorism in the north. You know, because it's an illiterate mind. Once you are not educated, you are not enlightened about certain things, you'll be easily deceived and easily hypnotized to join a group or join a cause. Say you're fighting for a cause, you're fighting for this, you're fighting for that. So that is what we're having more. We have high rate of illiteracy in that area, which it tends to be a major problem, illiteracy. And with education actually, you know terrorism could be tackled in Africa. With education, jobs, could be unemployment could be an issue of the past. With education and also the right mindset. Once we're talking about education, we don't just mean passing of information, excessive information. No, 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 no. Education of the mind, education, financial education, you know, teach you how to relate with people, because that's the basis of education. That's one of the foundations of education, for you to be able to communicate with your environment, your society. So with education, we could really do a lot in Nigeria.
Yeah, and it
Thank
looks like
you.
the situation at the moment in Nigeria just proves that the paradigm of the consumer society is at the dead end. And it seems like, as you mentioned it before, it seems like people all over the world, so they realizing that we need to take the responsibility in our own hands. We cannot wait until the government will change anything. So it just show, even with this example that you said, that they imposed a ban for the kids to sell the stuff on the streets, but it didn't solve the problem, it just escalated the problem. So and that's why we all think that the creative society is the only answer that we have at the moment. So that we need to change the whole paradigm. We need to teach people, as you said, the education is important. We need to teach people back the normal values. The human life is valid, so that the kids growing up will know that even if I'm born in poverty, it doesn't mean that I'm nobody, or I can be killed and nobody will gonna um, look for me. So this is all part of education, to teach people the normal values. So what is important in our life? It's not about selling and profit. It's about the honesty, integrity, honest business, and the development, the personal development. So this is really, really important.
Yeah.
But
And
thank you again for everything that you're doing. It seems like I was really, really touched by the story that you told about the problem that the kids are facing nowadays.
And I know, guys, what I wanted to add also is that there is a solution to the problem of poverty. And this solution is in the seventh foundation of the creative society, which is called justice and equality. Because coming back to the beginning of our conversation, I will remind our viewers again that the first and the most important foundation of the creative society, the most important pillar is the first foundation, which is human life. And human life is the highest value. Life of any human has to be protected as one's own. The goal of society is to ensure and guarantee the value of each human's life. There is not and never can there be anything else more valuable than a human's life. If one human is valuable, then all people are valuable. And to guarantee this foundation, of course, there should be implemented other foundations as well as the seventh foundation, which I wanted to introduce, which is justice and equality. And it's about natural resources. All natural resources belong to humans and are fairly distributed among all people. Monopolization of resources and their irrational use is prohibited. These resources are fairly distributed among the citizens of the entire earth. A human is guaranteed employment if she or he so desires. Pay for an identical position, specialty, or profession should be the same all over the world. Everyone has a right to private property and income, however, within the limits of the individual's capitalization among set by the society. So, by implementing this foundation globally, the problem of poverty doesn't exist anymore, because as we talk about humanity as one big family, we talk about the world is one whole big organism. So at any corner of this planet there should be equal conditions, high, secure, and good conditions of life for all people. And it's absolutely possible today. We know that there are natural resources which are not fairly distributed. We know exactly that it is absolutely possible to bring internet to Africa, to bring water to Africa, to bring food to Africa. That's not a problem. There is a lot of supplies. Only we people should answer this question: do we want to live in a creative society? Then we should act. Or do we want to continue to live in the consumerism society? Then, guys, looking at everything what is happening in our world today, all these disasters, crises, including climatic changes, including pandemic situation, we never know what will happen tomorrow. It's of our common interest to build such a world there everyone is protected. So I would like to invite our viewers to visit the web page allatraunites.com, And it's very easy to join the project Creative Society. I also would like, Wilson, to invite you to join this project and to become an active participant of the project. It's very easy. Just open this page, write the red button, join us, click it, leave your email, and the volunteers of the project Creative Society will contact you. uh, People participate in this project from more than 180 countries of the world. It's absolutely volunteer project, no sponsors, no dependence on anybody, no politicians behind us, no affiliation to any organization. It's people, as you and me, just people who really want to change this world. So, just before we finish our today's broadcast, I would like to ask Wilson another question. Wilson, how do you think uh, there are multiple religions in our world, and religions are supposed to unite people in love and peace, but we still live in the world there are a lot of crime, a lot of conflicts, and a lot of wars. How can we people overcome it? Understanding that nowadays even religions, they don't manage to solve these problems. How can we overcome them?
Uh, Talking about religion, yes, there are lots of religion in the world, but you have to first of all understand that once you have the right mindset about life, once you have the right mindset about your community, then I don't think there will be nothing that will be able to influence you to work against your community or work against humanity. Like like I said earlier, it's all about the mindset. You know, you get to see most of the people that they use religion against all these people. They are the ones that it's because when the government neglects these people, humanity neglects these people. They tend to go back to their last resort, which is religion. Religious bodies they play a lot. They have a lot of impact when it comes to human life. They have a lot of impact when it comes to community developments in Nigeria, in Africa especially, because we are highly religious. You can see the government can say don't do this, but we get to see people violating the rules, violating laws in certain cases, not all cases. But you hardly see once a priest, an imam, a sheikh, or a sultan declares a thing. You hardly get defaulters because why? They tend to see these people as a role model. They tend to see these people as saints that they portray, they preach, because when everybody else left them out, these people were the ones that were there at their community level, provided for them, embraced them, gave them the basics that they needed for them to be able to do things, for them to be able to survive, for them to be able to live. So religion really has a whole lot when it comes to development in Africa, development in, we have to have the right mindset, the right set of rulers, religious leaders for them to be able to, do certain things in Africa that would really be of benefit to us people.
It is really important that, as you mentioned before, the right mindset, because the religions, all different religions, they has a very high value for the humanity. So because it is very important for the culture of all people in different countries. But when people don't have this right mindset, the religious can become really like a very dangerous weapon, so to speak. And the right mindset. So this is really, really important because we need to realize that if we take away all the covers in different religions and all the rituals and the different cultural but what left is all the prophet and all the religious, so they're supposed to unite and teach people of the main human value, right, about the love and respect to each other. And that's exactly what's important. As you mentioned about the education. So hopefully when the people know the truth, they know that the religions are supposed to unite us, not to separate us, not to separate us and not teach people to hate one another just because you go to different, um, you belong to different denominations. So, and that's really, I think you probably see it a lot in Nigeria as well, because they use religious against the people.
Talking about religion, when the fact Islam, they call it Allah, Christianity say is it Jehovah, God, all these things still comes together to be one God, you know. So the thing is, these people they are not enlightened, they are not educated, you know. So these religious, the bad, actually the ones that wants to use the religion against its essence, against its main purpose, they tend to turn the message around. They tend to look for ways to suit their own selfish desires, then pass it across to these minds that are ignorant. They just want to be exposed. They want to be informed. They want to look for how to engage themselves, to be useful to the community, to be useful to to themselves also, and to someone. So that is the main. That's why most of them, they just tend to fall victim, actually. So once you are enlightened, you know that the fact that somebody is in the church singing, praying, standing, and the other person is in the mosque, you know, bowing his head and doing the normal Islamic routines, and it's like to pray, to God in His own ways. It still means we are communicating to one God in different ways and different means.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And exactly, and that's why we're coming back to the education. So all this stuff comes back to the education of people, and that's probably why your foundation is concentrate the effort on the education of the people, because the education kind of bring everything together. So and then they change the people's perspective, so that the people will learn to love one another, not to hate one another just because you go to mosque versus somebody goes to church or to other temples. So
Wilson, yeah, thank you, Rita. Thank you so much. And so, this is such an important topic. And before we switch to another topic, I wanted to ask you, Wilson, from your perspective, what would be your message to all people who belong to religious and people who are working in the religious? What would be your message to all of them?
My message to everyone working in the religious sector, you know, I'd say we should all come out all in full force. We should look at ways to really impact the lives of people, make our community better, look at ways to improve our society, because we're lacking behind. I mean, we're lacking behind. You don't need to go far to know that Africa is really behind. Nigeria, it's behind. You know, so we need to expose the mind of these our young ones to see how to engage them. They should be creative. You know, to contribute to their society. They should be creative to look for ways to make Africa better. They should be encourage them to look for ways, because I mean we've got lots of brilliant minds here in Africa, Nigeria. We've got lots of brilliant minds. You get to see youths doing a whole lot, coming out, trying to look for how to trying to make lives better for themselves and the community. But the government tend to fight back, tend to resist these people, because you can't see an average Nigerian youths trying to come up with ways to provide for his family, make the society better in terms of entrepreneurial skills, engaging himself, coming up with something, probably establishing a company, a firm, and then the government tends to bring rules and laws, tax, high taxes, and it's like to kill these people within 2 years, they won't be able to operate anymore. They tend to die off because just fizzle off because of the high rate of taxes, and it's like so the religious body really we should look at ways to synergize, because the government can't do it all. I mean, the government is you and I. We tend to select people to go there, and at the end of the day, due to selfish reasons and desires of one, they don't tend to look at us anymore. They don't look at our faces. So the religious bodies and individuals should look at ways to come together, synergize, because the church, the mosques, they are one rich. I mean, they have one full force, powerful than the government, and if they should utilize the power they have as a religious body, I mean, Africa won't be where we are today if they utilize the power they have as a religious body.
And the whole world, I think,
Exactly. In the
if it
whole world.
happens globally. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you.
Wilson.
Yeah. So we're gonna build the world with the faces on everybody, with the smile on everybody's face.
Exactly. Exactly. So we hope as a foundation also we want to touch at least by 2025, 2030, we should be able to touch the lives of 1 million children, if not more, in Africa. But
By
it
when
all
did you
begins with one
say?
person. By 2025, 2030, we tend to, we hope, we dream, that's our vision, and we're looking forward to that. Just impacting the lives of 1 million kids and youth, if not more, by then, you know, in
We
Africa.
can even like put the goal to build a creative society globally by 2025 already.
Exactly.
So then finally your foundation will start helping children to choose a profession they want between multiple professions available to them, and to support them in their development and growth provided by the creative
Exactly.
society to every child. And yes, thank you for joining us today. It was really such a pleasure to have you with us. And you are such a model to me of a person who has a similar mindset as many participants already who joined the project Creative Society. That we say that the all people, all children are our children. We don't say that my children are my children and your children are your children. All children on this planet are our children. So we should care about every child on this planet. Thanks for
The,
joining us.
sorry, there's a saying, just a short one. There's a saying in Africa that the duty of child upbringing, it's the duty of the community. It's not just one person. It's not left for the parents alone. It's not left for the guardian alone, but it's everybody have to be involved when it comes to bringing up a child.
This is
We
very
always
true.
wisdom is here. Why don't we hear to the wisdom which is given to us by God, by our grandparents? Everything is here, but we don't live this way. We don't follow it, unfortunately. That's really time, to shift.
Yeah, that's time for us to wake up and take our responsibilities back, and yeah, build the society where we'll be happy. Everybody will be happy and fulfilled. So this is.
Yeah, thank you. So then maybe Rita, I pass you a floor to talk about the 6 degrees of connection.
Yes, Wilson, we are testing the theory that everybody in the whole world connected through 6 handshakes. And now with the social media, it even less, it's probably 2 or 3. And that's why we're asking you, maybe you can nominate somebody, maybe one of your friend or the colleague or relatives or somebody that you know that would want to participate in a similar interview that we had today. And also, maybe you would want to be one of the hosts on this interview. And yeah, and would be nice to hear somebody else from Nigeria. And if you have somebody in mind, you can tell us now. If not, that maybe you will send us later the information via WhatsApp. And this interview, yeah, you can also share this interview on your social media, but we're just asking that you use two hashtags, the hashtag Allatra Unites and hashtag Creative Society. So do you have anybody in mind?
Uh,
It's an unexpected question, right?
Unexpected, yeah. Unprepared.
if I have, actually, I can nominate two from Nigeria. You know, I can nominate two if you want me to do that. But I don't know. I don't know. Must it be live? Must I mention their name live before I leave, or I just send it to you?
No, you can talk to them first. You can share
Exactly.
this interview that they can see what is the format, and we go from there.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you so
Exactly.
much.
That would
Okay.
be really nice, and you can nominate as many as you wish.
Okay. Sure. Sure.
And if you have friends in different countries, where they are more than welcome to to participate in this project as well.
Sure. Sure.
Thank you, dear friends. Thank you, Wilson, for being with us today, for bringing truth about what is happening in Nigeria to for our viewers. Because Allatra TV is a social media of new format. Then we tell mm, to different people from different countries, and we know the truth. We know what is really happening in the world. We know not that information which goes through the mainstream channels, but from people who live there. And it helps us to have transparent information and pure vision of what is happening in the world today. So thank you for being with us today, for your time, for your attention. Dear viewers and friends of Wilson, please congratulate him for being with us today. And yes, I hope that you really enjoyed today's show.
It was really, really an honor. It's a big one on my side. It's a privilege to really be on today's show. Thank you. I'm really happy.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And dear viewers, today's show I would like to finish by the announcement. We are preparing for the global conference on the 20th of March 2021. And the topics which we raised today, the topics of religions, of the role of religions in our society, is very important today. Though Creative Society is a social project, but we understand that we live in the world that religions are playing an important role because people follow religions, and we know that in each religion there is a universal grain which was brought by prophets and God messengers in different times to different places of this world. And we know that this message was sent not only to one particular country or the region, this message was sent to all of us. And we would like to gather together and to discuss what was this message. Why did we forget it? Why don't we follow the message of our prophets? What should we do in order to build such a world which they were dreaming of? So, dear viewers, please watch with us a trailer for the conference, and I invite you to join us and to participate in the research to prepare this conference. If you are interested, please send us an email to info@allatraunites.com. Sorry, my phone is ringing, but please, let's watch the trailer.
Unprecedented event of present history. Initiative that comes from people around the world. main project of humanity. People stopped being silent about urgent issues of our society. How it all started. May 2019, International Online Conference, Society, The Last Chance. 140 countries of the world, hundreds of thousands of people online, hundreds of broadcast platforms, translated into 7 languages simultaneously. If we all want to live in peace, why do we have a world of violence and destruction? It is up to us to build a different world. How can we do it? December 2020, Creative Society. United we can. 180 countries of the world. Millions of people online. Thousands of streaming platforms. 35 languages simultaneously translated. People have voiced today's reality and what they truly desire. And it is the Creative Society. All cultures have an image of the ideal world people want to live in. A world that prophets talked about. The time has come when we can make it real. How will we use this chance? Let's meet March 20, 2021, 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time and 10 a.m. Eastern Time. International online event of global scale. Creative Society, what the prophets dreamed of. This is the day the world will unite to find out the truth, join the entire humanity, and spread